Hello guys, welcome to this video. In today's video, we're talking about the difference between what a framework is and what a library is. And also my first might have encountered these two and we tend to mistake and misuse these two. And we tend to use library for a framework and a framework for library. We know that both of them seem to be a little bit similar, but both of them tend to differ in many ways. Let's look at what exactly a framework and look at a framework as a provide a predefined structure or set of rules to build your application. It often calls your code at a specific point rather than you calling it its code. It enforces a specific way of doing things and often takes control of the flow of the program. Let's look at example of the framework. Let's say Flask or Django. Let's take this as example. If you have done a web development project like using Flask or Django, you see that when you are doing project using that of Django, you see that each way it enforces you to do something in the specific pattern. That's just basically what framework does. Framework just makes you to do something in a specific pattern that it wants you to do. You don't have controls over it. You can't say, oh, it's like this, so let me decide to do it like this. No, and you can't modify them. So the way they are being written, that's where you are going to be implemented. Let's say, for example, when you want to create authentication for user on your website, for example, and you're using a framework like Django, for example. You see that framework tend to have a particular way to align your structure of your website without you being able to modify it to your taste or to your choice. Let's think of a real life example. Let's say in your house you have a predefined pre-built. Let's say as a preview, you have a pre-built house frame. You can customize you can paint, you can do other things to the pre-built house, but you can't change the structure of the house. You can't change it. So that's basically how frameworks works. Like I use Flask and Django. These are the exactly what exactly how frameworks works. Frameworks are the lot of Django and Flask are just a good example because when you use them, they forces you to structure your things the way it is. The structure has already been laid. All you have to do is just to be putting other things, but you can't change it. Like I use the house for example, you can't change the structure, but you can tend to arrange some other things on it. So what exactly are libraries? Libraries, on the other hand, is a collection of reusable code or modules that provide specific functionality. You have full controls over them and when how to use a library. You decide which part to use and how to combine them. Let me use the example like pandas or numpy, for example. If you have done any machine learning early machine learning project, for example, you see that pandas or numpy can tend to modify them, can tend to use them the way you want. Like example, that of request, and can tend to bring them, store them somewhere, and do some other crazy things with them. But when it comes to that of framework, you can't. You can't do things like that, and they have limited ways, limited things you can do in that of framework. But when it comes to that of library, you can do almost a whole lot of things. Can use them, you can remodel them and make it to your own taste. You can do a whole lot of, you can even write your own library from a particular library. So the way you can see that when you look at them, you can see that library tends to have more advantage over framework. So let's not mistake libraries to a framework. Just one thing you should know that about frameworks is that framework is already been structured. What you have to do is to arrange some things on it for it to give you a specific output. But with that, when it comes to that of a library it is reusable, meaning that you can modify it and then make use of it anytime you want. So what are the key difference between a framework and a library? You can look at the controls. With a library, you are in controls, but when it comes to that of a framework, the framework often takes control and dedicate the flow of the application. So this is just basically what another one you can look at it, the flexibility. Libraries offer more flexibility because you can only you can use it to do what you want, but framework provide a comprehensive solution but may limit flexibility as they follow specific convention. So that's just basically what I said. I explained. Frameworks tend to tend to take controls of your script. You are not fully in controls of the script and the writing of the script or making use of framework. But when you come to that of library, you are in full control. You can modify, you can make use of them, you can build your own. So that's just basically what frameworks are, and libraries are, the difference between both of them. So can tend to stop mistaking both of them. So I think this should be for this video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.